What if I told you the secret to building wealth isn't how much money you earn, but what you do with it? It's not magic, and it's not luck. It's a simple choice between two things, assets and liabilities. But here's the catch. Most people think they know the difference, and they're dead wrong. Today, you're going to find out what really builds wealth, and one surprising mistake that keeps even smart people broke for life. Number 1. The millionaire's formula. Let's start with the big idea. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. That's it. The key to building wealth is owning more assets and fewer liabilities. Sounds simple, right? But here's where it gets tricky. A lot of what people think are assets are actually liabilities. For example, a car. You might say, I own my car. It's an asset. But is it really? That car costs you gas, insurance, repairs, and it loses value every year. It takes money out of your pocket, not puts it in. That's a liability. Now, imagine you own a rental property that brings you $1,000 every month after expenses. That's an asset. See the difference? Number 2. Why the middle class stays stuck. Here's a little story. A young couple buys a big house in the suburbs. They say, this is the American dream. This is our biggest asset. But every month, the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and repairs drain their paycheck. They're left with nothing to invest, and they keep working harder just to keep up. That house isn't building their wealth. It's keeping them stuck. The middle class often confuses liabilities for assets, and that's why they stay paycheck to paycheck. Research by the Federal Reserve shows that over 60% of Americans couldn't cover a $500 emergency. That's no coincidence. Number 3. How the rich think differently. Now let's flip the story. Rich people don't just earn more. They think differently. They use their money to buy assets first, assets that generate income. Businesses, stocks, rental properties, intellectual property like books or patents, things that keep paying them long after they've bought them. Here's a real example. Warren Buffett bought shares in Coca-Cola decades ago. Today, those shares still pay him millions every year in dividends. That's how you build wealth. You plant seeds and let them grow. And here's the crazy part. Anyone can do it. You don't have to be rich to start thinking like the rich. Number 4. The sneaky liabilities people love. Some liabilities are obvious, but some are sneaky, like credit card debt. You buy a vacation on your card, thinking you deserve it, but now you're paying 20% interest every month. Or fancy gadgets, or subscription services you don't even use. Even buying too much house can be a liability in disguise. One client of mine paid $700 a month just on lawn care and utilities for a house he barely used. The lesson: not all liabilities come with flashing warning signs. They're often disguised as rewards or necessities, and they quietly eat your wealth. Number 5. Start small. Think big. You might be thinking, but I don't have money to buy a rental property or start a business. That's okay. Assets come in all sizes. You can start small. For example, putting $100 a month into an index fund is owning an asset, or learning a skill that increases your income, like coding or digital marketing, is an investment in yourself that pays back for years. Even buying a used car with cash instead of financing a new one keeps more money in your pocket over time. Wealth doesn't happen overnight. It's built one small smart choice at a time. Number 6. The time factor. Why starting early wins. Here's a fascinating fact. If you invest just $200 a month starting at 25 and it earns an average of 8% a year, you'll have over $500,000 by the time you're 65. But if you wait until 35 to start, you'll end up with less than half that amount. That's the power of compounding. Money working for you over time. So even if you can only invest a little now, it's better than waiting. Time turns even tiny assets into something massive. Number 7. How to tell the difference every time. So, how do you know if something is an asset or a liability? Here's a simple test. Does it put money in your pocket, or does it take money out? If it puts money in, it's an asset. If it takes money out, it's a liability. Your car. Liability. Your stocks. Asset. Your credit card balance. Liability. Your skills and knowledge. Asset. It really is that simple. And once you see the world this way, you can make better decisions every single day. Number 8. What about your home? This is one of the most debated topics. Is your home an asset? It depends. If you live in it and it costs you money every month, it's technically a liability. But if you rent out part of it, like an extra room, and that rent covers the mortgage, then you've turned it into an asset. That's what some smart homeowners do. They house hack, live in one part and rent the other. Suddenly, their biggest expense becomes their biggest wealth builder. Number 9. Mindset matters more than money. The biggest difference between those who build wealth and those who don't isn't how much they start with. It's how they think. Wealthy people see money as a tool to create more money. They avoid liabilities that drain them. They buy assets that pay them back. Even if you're starting from zero, you can adopt this mindset today. Ask yourself every time you spend, is this building my wealth or draining it? That one habit can change your future completely. Number 10. Why debt can be dangerous or powerful. Here's something most beginners get confused about. Is debt always bad? Well, it depends. When you borrow money to buy a liability, like a fancy car or a luxury vacation, that's called bad debt. Why? Because it takes money out of your pocket every month and leaves you with nothing that grows in value. But here's what the wealthy do differently. They use good debt to buy assets. For example, they take out a mortgage to buy a rental property. That brings in more rent than the mortgage payment. Now the tenant is paying off the loan, and the owner keeps the profits. That's smart. So debt itself isn't the enemy. It's what you use it for. If it builds wealth, it's good debt. If it drains your wallet, it's bad debt. Number 11. The emotional trap of liabilities. Here's another reason people buy liabilities: emotions. You've had a rough week. You see a shiny new phone or a designer bag, and you think, I deserve this. We all feel that way sometimes. But here's the problem. Liabilities often come wrapped in emotional decisions. It feels good in the moment. But later, when you're making payments with interest or regretting the purchase, the good feeling is gone. So here's a tip. Before you buy something big, wait 24 hours. If you still want it, and it doesn't hurt your ability to buy assets, then decide. That pause can save you thousands over your lifetime. Number 12. Turning your time into an asset. We've talked about money, but what about time? Your time can also be an asset or a liability. If you spend hours scrolling social media or watching TV, that's time you can never get back. But if you use that time to learn a skill, build a side hustle, or grow your network, that time becomes incredibly valuable. Here's an example. One of my students spent just 1 hour a night learning graphic design online. 6 months later, she was making an extra $1,000 a month as a freelance designer. She turned her time into an asset. You can too. Number 13. How to build an asset habit. The most successful people don't just buy assets once in a while. They make it a habit. Every paycheck, they automatically put some money into assets. Even if it's just a little, that habit builds momentum. It becomes part of who they are. You can set this up easily. For example, you can have your bank automatically move 10% of your paycheck into an investment account, or you can schedule regular payments toward your business or education. Make it automatic so you don't even have to think about it. That's how wealth quietly grows. Number 14. Teaching your kids early. One of the greatest gifts you can give your kids is to teach them about assets and liabilities early. Why? Because most schools don't, and kids grow up thinking credit cards are free money and cars are status symbols. But if you show them that every dollar they save or invest can grow into more dollars, you change their lives forever. One parent I know opened a custodial investment account for his son at age 12. By the time the boy turned 18, he already had several $1,000s invested. Money he helped grow himself. That's how you change family trees. Number 15. What happens if you ignore this? Here's the hard truth. If you don't learn this lesson, life has a way of teaching it to you. The hard way. People who keep buying liabilities often find themselves trapped in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, stressed and frustrated. According to a recent survey, nearly 70% of Americans feel anxious about their finances. That doesn't have to be you. You have a choice, right now, to start making different decisions, to stop feeding liabilities and start feeding assets. Your future self will thank you. We've covered a lot today, and now you know how to tell the difference between assets and liabilities. You know why the rich keep getting richer and why many people stay stuck. But here's what I really want to know. What's the first step you're going to take today to build your own wealth? Drop your answer in the comments below. I can't wait to see how you'll turn your money and your time into real assets.